we can say that inside one ethnic group we can find a whole new sort of diversity. So diversity, it is not an absolute term. Inside a certain ethnicity you can also find a lot of diversities, which would mostly be based on personal characteristics and experiences. There are many factors of diversity, many dimensions of diversity. Yes, of course, ethnic diversity is one of them. After that, we have maybe some religious diversity or cultural diversity, right? There are many others, but just to sum up a few common ones. Ethnicity, yes, it is a dimension of diversity. We have culture, we have religion. Experience, now experience also accounts for diversity. For example, there is a certain group and people in that group are from different experiences. They have had different experiences in their past. Now this would also contribute to the diversity of that culture, right? Expertise, now difference of expertise would also account for diversity in a certain group, right? Maybe one person has expertise in the information technology department, one person might be having expertise regarding some communication, one person might be having some expertise regarding marketing skills, etc. So all these things, these difference of expertise would also account for diversity in a certain group or an organization. Then age also causes diversity. Let's assume there is a certain group of people, all of them, they are from the same ethnicity, same culture, same religion, same experience, same expertise, but the age is different. Now this would also cause a certain amount of diversity, right? Then again, we have different other factors like parenting status, marital status, and many others, right? You name it, everything, almost each and everything associated with our individual selves, our different characteristics, whatever they may be, they all account for diversity, right? So whenever we are talking about diversity, it does not necessarily means from being from different ethnicities or from different countries or different cultures, right? Or maybe different color. So diversity, it is a very broad concept, and all our differences that we have among each other, they actually do account for diversity. Now, as we all know that nowadays, due to this globalized world and a more developed and dynamic world, whenever we are working in our organizations, we do come across diversity. That diversity might be of an ethnic level, of a national level, and if you do not have the diversity of a national level, then definitely we do have a diversity of experience and expertise and age, parenting status, marital status, etc. Now, another concept that comes in here is known as intercultural communication, right? What is intercultural communication? It is the process of sending and receiving messages between people whose cultural backgrounds could lead them to interpret verbal or non-verbal signs differently. In simple words, it means that whenever you are trying to communicate between two different cultures, right? Now, what cultures can possibly do? Now, cultures can make you interpret different verbal or non-verbal communication in a different way. A certain person from a certain culture might interpret a certain non-verbal or maybe verbal communication in one way, the other person would interpret it in the other way. And yes, culture do have an impact over how we actually interpret things, right? Some cultures are they have a specific way of interpreting things, they have a specific nature, they have different meanings for different non-verbal signs, right? They might be having different experiences as well. So intercultural communication, it is the process of sending and receiving messages between people where culture can actually try to change things, right? It can recreate the meanings which were actually intended. So this is something that we do deal with whenever we are working in an environment, especially in a diverse environment, and this does pose a challenge, and this is something that must be mastered by or managed by the managers and all the other employees, right? Now, whenever we talk about a diverse workforce, yes, there might be some challenges like communication issues, communication might become a bit difficult over there, but it has certain advantages as well. For example, the first one, a broad range of views and ideas. Definitely, when we have people, when we have a diverse group, when we have people of different cultures, when we have people of different religions, when we have people of different experiences, different ages, different expertise, right, different marital statuses, so all these things account to a broader range of views and ideas. We would be getting ideas and views from different experiences, from different people, from different categories. So naturally it would result into a larger pool of ideas. So when we have a larger pool of ideas, so definitely the probability of having more good ideas would be increasing. Another benefit is a better understanding of a diverse fragmented market. Obviously, when we have people in our organization from diverse backgrounds, so definitely we would be having an edge, we would be having a benefit of being able to understand diverse markets as well, right? So it is a benefit, added benefit, of course. Then we have a broader pool of talent from which we can recruit. Definitely, as an organization, when you are not confined to a certain group or category of people, so we would be having a broader pool of talent from which we can recruit. And nowadays it is happening. There are many larger organizations, many big organizations whose CEOs are actually they are not from the parent country. I'll give you an example of Google. The CEO of Google is actually a person who belongs to India, right? So talent exists everywhere, and when you have a diverse pool, so it means that you have a broader pool of talent from which you can recruit. So these are the possible benefits of having a diverse workforce. Now, whenever we are trying to communicate interculturally, definitely there are some challenges. A company's cultural diversity affects how its business messages are conceived, composed, delivered, received, and interpreted. In simple words, we can say that culture, it influences everything about communication, right? In a company, how messages are conceived, how we get the ideas, how those messages are written, how they are delivered, how they are received, and how they are actually interpreted by the receivers. What meaning is being extracted from those messages by the receiver. Now all these things, they do depend upon the cultural diversity. Culture has a very strong regression into all these elements, right? Culture influences everything about communication, which include language, the use of language. Definitely we have different languages, we have different styles of languages from culture to culture. Non-verbal signs are also different. Usually in our own culture we have certain non-verbal signs which mean something, but in other cultures those similar signs would have a different meaning, right? So this can sometimes be challenging, and it need to be understood. Word meanings. Now, meanings of certain words are also different across the cultures. Time and space issues are very important, because whenever we are communicating with a group of people who are from diverse cultures, now the concepts of time and the concepts of space, they are different from culture to culture, right? In some cultures the concepts of time are different, but in some other cultures the concepts of time are actually set in a different way, right? Maybe in some cultures it may not be very well accepted, or it may not be very welcomed to be discussing something official outside the work hours, right? But in some culture it might be all right. We have space issues as well. Some cultures do appreciate two people to be close to each other physically, but in some cases the space issues, they need to be respected. In some cultures it is appreciated to maintain a safe distance, to maintain a safe space whenever we are trying to interact with people. Other rules of human relationship as well. We have lots of relationship whenever in our lives. In fact, we have a relationship with our siblings, with our parents, maybe some intimate relationship with our partner, some other sort of relationship. We have relationship with friends, we have professional relationships as well. So rules of these relationships, they do differ a lot from culture to culture, right? Some cultures are more individualistic in nature. Some cultures are collectivist in nature, and there are many other dimensions through which we can measure a culture. We are not going to going in that detail right now, but the rules of human relationship, they do differ from culture to culture, and that difference need to be respected, right? Another concept that comes here is that of a cultural competency. Now, what is cultural competency? And cultural competency, it needs to be developed, right? In the current era, cultural competency needs to be developed. Cultural competency includes an appreciation for cultural differences that affect communication, and the ability to adjust one's communication style to ensure the efforts to send and receive messages across cultural boundaries are successful. In simpler words, it means that cultural competency means that, number one, you need to accept the differences between cultures, right? You should not be assuming that somehow each and every person would be sharing your culture and your ideas and your perceptions, but we must accept the differences, and then we must make all the effort, right, to ensure that whatever message we are sending, whatever message we are trying to communicate, whatever meaning we are actually trying to send to a certain person, so this process get successful, and for that we need to make all the effort, whatever is necessary, right? So cultural competency means that we need to accept the differences, and we need to work on the fact, we need to try to make our communication as acceptable as possible for all cultures, right? Let's talk a little about culture here before going further. First of all, the basic definition of culture, which we all know, is culture is a shared system of symbols, beliefs, attitude, values, expectations, and behavioral norms, right? A certain group of people, maybe in a certain area, most probably in a certain area, they have shared system. Shared system means that each and every one of them shares that system. They all somehow understand and act upon that system. Now that system may be consist of symbols that we use, certain beliefs that we have, certain attitudes, values, expectations, and behaviors, right? These things combine together and they form a culture, and culture is basically the way how people act in a certain way in a certain place, right? Now there are many views about culture. A certain student of mine, once I asked him about culture, so he gave me a very interesting reply. He said that culture is pressure from dead people. Now that is also a view. It might be debatable, but again, we do appreciate a difference of opinions, and yes, maybe in some way that is true, but we are not going into that detail right now. But culture, it has different definition, it has different value for each other. Then whenever you are in an organization, or maybe in our lives, we belong to several cultures, right? It does not necessarily mean that we belong to one culture. We belong to several cultures, and each and every one of that culture actually affects the way we communicate, right? For example, we belong to Pakistani culture, right? Then again, inside that, some of us may be from the Punjabi culture, some of us may be from the Sindhi culture, from the Balochi culture, or from the Pathan or Pashtun culture, right? Then again, inside that, we have different culture of places where we live in. Peshawar might be having a different type of culture. Mardan Charsadda may be having a different culture. Lahore may be a different culture. Faisalabad, Sheikhupura may be a different culture. Karachi, Hyderabad may be a different culture, right? So we have cultures within our broader cultures, right? Then if to narrow down a little, our occupation, they also represent a certain culture, right? We have doctors in our society, we have engineers, we have teachers, we have military people. Now these all these occupations, they also constitute certain culture, and yes, they definitely affect the way we communicate. I'll give you the example of the army people or the armed forces people. We all must have noticed that they have a certain way of communicating, and mostly in most cases we can recognize these people from the way they communicate. And in most cases, in my opinion, they communicate in a very well mannered and a very decent way. So we are part of different cultures at the same time, and all of these cultures, they do have an impact over how we communicate, right? Now, how do we learn a culture? Whenever we are living in a society, we learn certain cultures. For example, each and every one of us listening to this lecture right now, we are experts in our own culture, right? So we have learned this culture through time, and with time we are going to learn it even more. We can learn culture directly by being instructed specifically by our elders. You might have done the same with your little ones, your cousins or brothers or children, maybe, that we directly instruct them that this is not the proper way to behave. Right? This is not a proper way to do something. We should not be using words like that. These type of statements that we use, we are actually directly instructing the subject to learn culture. Then sometimes culture is also learned indirectly by observing. Whenever we are maybe in an event in our family, maybe on an occasion, we observe people, how people behave, and then we learn from it and we start behaving in that way as well, right? So there are direct ways of learning culture and indirect ways of learning culture. Now, another important interesting point is that culture tend to offer views that are both coherent and complete. What is meant by coherent? Coherent means that if we internally look at those cultural norms and values and behaviors that are understood, that are taken to be acceptable, if we look at them internally, they seem logical to us, right? But if a certain person from outside the culture observes that certain phenomena, it won't be it won't seem much logical, right? It may look stupid from the outside, that what is that person doing? But internally, whatever we are doing, which is part of our culture, it looks logical, right? It seemed to be making sense. Now, there are many things related to culture which are most of the times not very logical, right? For example, it is a part of our culture that whenever an elder enters into our room or enters into a certain gathering, so as a sign of respect, all of us, we stand up to give respect to that elder who has actually entered into a certain room. Now, this is our very strong culture norm, right? We do it, and it happens most of the time involuntarily, right? But if we look at it logically, let's keep the culture and religion and everything aside for a minute. If we look at it logically, so it does not make any sense, right? If a person comes into our room, an elder person, why do we need to stand up? Logically, it makes no difference. Maybe us standing, it does not do any good to that person, right? Health wise or in any way, right? So this, when we speak of logic, this does not make any sense. But culturally, if we look at it internally from the culture, it makes a lot of sense, and we do that all the time. Then the next point that we have is complete. Culture, it offers us views that are both coherent. Coherent means that they look logical from the internal side, but they might be looking illogical from the external side. And complete. Culture, almost, it gives us answers to all the big questions of our lives, right? Whatever big things that we have in our life, maybe our relationships, maybe the matter of marriages, or maybe the matter of births, or maybe the matter of deaths, and or many other things. These are some big questions of life. So our cultures, they offer us views on all these things, right? So we conclude that culture, it gives us views which are coherent and they are complete, right? Another problem that often arises while we are dealing with cultures is ethnocentrism and stereotyping. Yes, ethnocentrism is a tendency to judge other groups according to the standards, behaviors, and customs of your own group. What is ethnocentrism? Ethnocentrism means that whenever we try to judge people from different cultures on the standards or on the norms or customs of our own culture, right? That person is from another culture, so we cannot judge him, we cannot evaluate him on the basis of my culture. This would be like a medical student, and you are trying to judge him by taking an exam from him related something related to engineering, right? So this should not be happening. Ethnocentrism is not fine. It should be eradicating, because we should be judging, or maybe we should be evaluating people according to their own cultures, not our own cultures, right? Another problem, another issue that we usually face is stereotyping. It is assigning generalized attributes to an individual on the basis of membership in a particular group, right? What happens here that we generalize things. We make some opinion about a certain group, and then we somehow assume that each and every member of that group would be having those certain qualities or those certain assumptions that we initially made. For example, if there is a certain culture, let's say culture X, hypothetically, right? Now, for example, culture X has somehow maybe somehow people has started to assume it as a culture of people with who are not very wise, right? For example, we assume that people of culture X are not very wise. Now this is an assumption that we have made. Now whoever is actually a part of that culture, a part of that group, so we somehow assume that that person won't be wise as well, right? Starting from our own cultures in Pakistan especially, there is a certain assumption that people from the Pathan culture, they may not be very bright. Now I am personally a Pathan, so I would not hesitate to give you this name as an example. So let's assume now, if we start to assume that each and every person who is actually a Pathan would not be a bright or a wise person, this is stereotyping, right? We should not be making these assumptions. What we need to do is to judge people or evaluate people on their individual basis rather than generalizing a certain attribute to the whole group. There is another thing which is known as cultural pluralism. Cultural pluralism, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Cultural pluralism is the acceptance of multiple cultures on their own terms, right? In ethnocentrism, we were actually trying to judge people on our terms, but cultural pluralism means is the acceptance of multiple cultures on their own terms, right? So this is what should be happening. Ethnocentrism and stereotyping should not be happening. Now ethnocentrism and stereotyping can be avoided by, number one, avoiding assumptions. We should definitely not be making assumptions of our own about how people should be. We should not assume that others will act the same way as we do, use the same language or symbol that we do ourselves, or operate from the same values and beliefs from ourselves, right? So assumptions should be avoided. Judgments You should withhold judgments. When people act differently, do not conclude that they are in an error, or they are doing something invalid, or maybe they are inferior to you. No, these type of judgments should not be made. And the last one is acknowledge distinctions. Now, recognizing the differences, it is very important. Don't ignore the differences between another person's culture and your own, right? They must be recognized and they must be taken care of. That was it for today. The same topic would be continued in our next lecture, things related to culture and communication and diversity. But that was it for today. I hope for a good question answer session in our live class. A quote of the day is in front of you. Read it, understand it, and implement it in your lives. That was it for today. Have a good day. Allah Hafiz. Thank you.